You get the live stream going.
Carrie, you told, I remember seeing, told, space there, from SCT.
Pardon me?
You told SCT to be on.
I asked them all.
Yeah,
Margaret.
Oh, no, SAT.
And if someone comes in, I will go out. So we can pay attention. Oh, thank you. You should have, Dan and John should be coming. Yeah, but maybe, you never know, you're gonna show up or something. Well, they're supposed to come at 12:30, just, you know.
Good.
I told them they didn't have to, talk to us.
once
just
we get,
walk right
Yeah, once you get out, it's pretty smooth.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We got Chuck.
Can you see me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
And where that is.
Good morning, everyone.
Thanks.
Morning.
Cheryl.
Okay,
There we go.
that's that. Just let me get my agenda up here.
See, make sure Frank on for SCT stays.
I think you'd be on at noon.
I did.
You're there and you're not sideways.
Yeah, she. 'cause
I
Carrie
sent
did send an email.
everything.
Yeah, and he did confirm he was gonna be on, but I
Yeah.
don't see him up there.
The agendas.
It's Margaret and George.
He did say he would be calling in possibly, so we might get a, for SCT.
Okay. Mitch.
Gordon, yeah.
Mitch. If you see a phone number. Do we
There's
have other-
numbers on the Zoom meeting.
No, I mean, if she sees a phone number
Oh.
rather than a video,
Mhm.
trying to get in. All right. So Rich, we have quorum and we are good to start whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. Okay, it's 11:31. We'll call the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is to accept the February 16th, 2022 Governance Committee meeting transcript. That was sent out by Carrie to all members. They had an opportunity to review it. Any revisions were sent back to her, so we will accept that for the record. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Anyone in person or online wishing to address the Governance Committee has 5 minutes to speak. We ask that you just give your name and address, and the floor is yours. So at this time, we'll open it up to public comment. Is there anyone at this time who would like to address the Governance Committee meeting? Okay, hearing none, we'll close that portion of our meeting and move on to our agenda items. First item is a review, discussion, recommendation to approve an extension of the March 17th, 2021 sales and use tax exemption agreement with Upstate High Tech Properties LLC from March 17th, 2021 through and including August 31st, 2022, the total of which shall not exceed $84,800. Stacy.
Yes, thank you, Rich. Good morning, everyone. We have a few items related to an extension of time on sales tax exemption benefits. And not surprisingly, you'll see a variation on a theme of delayed materials and labor as well. So the first of which is from Dave Jones, managing partner, Upstate High Tech Properties LLC. I believe Margaret Scrinzi is on the line representing the company. There should be a letter in your packet that was included in your packet, formally requesting an extension of time for their current tax savings plan. They've encountered some speed bumps with building construction that is completing more in the second or third quarter and not in the first as they had initially planned. Building contractor has encountered material delays, including steel for building, concrete, and early weather impacts, and will not be able to finish construction until spring when the ground is more able to ready to go. And they are experiencing delays with getting electric up and running, and therefore would like to extend to the end of July or August. I would recommend that we give them the cushion of August 31 dead timeline for that if the board so chooses. That's That's the first one. Any questions?
Okay, no questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Jim,
Second, Cheryl.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation to approve an extension of the May 1st, 2020 sales and use tax exemption agreement with Simulation and Control Technologies, Inc. from April 15th, 2022 through and including April 15th, 2023, of which the total shall not exceed $40,880. Stacy.
Yes, similarly, we have Mitch Gorton representing Simulation and Control Technologies on the line. SCT is requesting an extension to the previously approved sales tax exemption that expires this April for an additional year. So April 15th through 2023. The extension request is necessary due to the project's completion timeframe continuing to shift in large part because of funding shortfalls as a result of postponed government contracts related to COVID-19. While they have completed or will complete much of the structural, electrical, and HVAC portions of the project by the April 15th deadline this year, they will still have a fair amount of remaining work in order to complete the project. Any questions?
Okay, hearing no questions, entertain a motion.
Jim, so moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in
Cheryl.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation to approve an extension of the June 12th, 2020 sales and use tax exemption agreement with GJS Property Group LLC from May 20, 2022 through and including May 20, 2023, of which the total shall not exceed $60,000. Stacy.
Yes, and the third and final request of this nature is from George Slavic Jr. George is on the phone, on the line, I believe. They're requesting an additional year for their project, which is set, their sales tax exemption, which is set to expire May of this year. Having a difficult time finding and scheduling contractors, as we've been hearing, and as well long lead times for procuring the appropriate materials. So therefore, they are looking for an additional year on this benefit in order to complete their project.
Any questions? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Jim, so moved.
Cheryl,
Second.
second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is a review, discussion, recommendation to accept an application from 4301 Watson Boulevard LLC, the company, for a leaseback transaction to facilitate the financing of the demolition, construction, and equipping of the building located at 4301 Watson Boulevard in the town of Union, to provide for a sales and use tax exemption benefit in the amount not to exceed $1,754,866, to provide a mortgage tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $395,767, to provide for a real property tax exemption in the amount not to exceed $559,922, and authorizing the agency to set and conduct a public hearing with respect thereto. Stacy.
Yes, thank you. And these materials were sent late yesterday afternoon, of which I first apologize and also recognize that the timeline is somewhat problematic on this. I do want to give credit to Natalie Abadessa for working very closely with Conifer. There are a lot of moving parts to this project and working very closely to get this application complete. This is the continuation, or I should say the beginning of a new chapter for the IBM Country Club. Just to give you all a quick status update, we do now officially own the property. It is ours for all of its flaws, and yes, and we're dealing with that from a property management side. And as well, we did have a conversation with New York State and representatives from Delta Engineers who are doing structural review for us. And we did receive a condemnation letter, letter of recommendation from Delta Engineers that we've since forwarded to Conifer. Michael Berkby's on the phone here from Conifer. So now our final step on sort of our process is we are going to meet with Conifer representatives from the town and county to discuss a path to demolition. There's still some things we need to do due diligence we need to do on that end, but it is progressing, which is good. So now looking at what will be the new life for IBM Country Club, Conifer Realty LaChase Construction is proposing to construct 75 new mixed income apartments affordable to families earning between 30% and 90% of area median income. This 3-story double loaded corridor elevator building will be approximately 35 feet tall and contain 18 one-bedroom apartments, 38 two-bedroom apartments, 19 three-bedroom apartments. Vehicular access will be provided off of Watson Boulevard with parking lots on both ends of the building. The central drive connecting the two parking lots will provide a convenient drop-off area directly in front of the main entrance, canopy and doors, also providing ADA accessible parking to the entry. And the apartment, the complex will have ADA accessible apartments. And I believe Conifer's already had a preliminary introductory meeting with Springbrook, whom we've connected them with here locally. The proposed development will be constructed as a wood frame structure that will hold all 75 apartments, as well as communal amenities such as a fitness center, community room with kitchenette, laundry facilities, outdoor patio and playground, and also an on-site management and maintenance shop. You have received a copy of the full and completed application, a project review form, which identifies a total exemption, a total benefit of 2.7 million to the project, which I believe total project costs are upwards of $39.9 million. And you've also received a cost benefit analysis in your packet. I do want to turn your attention to the last page of the cost benefit analysis. You will have a document called the Affordable Housing Pilot Determination. This is in our continued conversations with National Development Council. This would be a standard template for affordable units, which helps determine the pilot at 10% of the sheltered rent or the restricted rents that they are able to charge. So it does have it is a new format for us as we continue modifying our UTEP. This would be sort of the new norm of how we would approach developing pilot schedules for affordable housing. Again, I recognize that these materials were sent late, and so any questions I can answer and any input you have as to move this forward. Action today would be to induce to provide an inducement resolution so that we can set the public hearing date. It would not assign or approve any benefits at this point in time. And I should note that Conifer is applying for the competitive round, the 9% low-income housing tax credit program through New York State. That application is due March 31 of this year.
Any questions at this time for Stacy?
Yeah, I noticed this morning reviewing this in the application, it lists IBM Country Club LLC is the owner in the application, and in the RFP it lists the agency as the owner. I don't know when the sale went.
Title may have passed. How long is it? 2 weeks?
It's been only about 2 weeks since we've officially held.
That we closed.
That we closed on
So it was-
9/30.
In the LLC, it went to us sometime.
Just so you're aware of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Yeah, we had this whole time.
Stacy, the question I have, so this was added to the agenda yesterday,
Yes,
but
it was.
and the reason for it being added today is because there's an application due at the end of the month.
Yeah, so, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, is the 9% just an annual application, or I know they have, I know they run it at least once a year, but I don't know if they run it more than once a year. So is the 9% competitive round, is that only an annual application process?
For this year, we are hearing that there will be the round that is due the end of this month, and there will be a second round that will be released sometime the later portion of this year and either due towards the end of this year or early next year.
Yeah, so part of our reason for expediting was to enable them, the inducement resolution will be required for enabling them as part of their application, as well as the contract for sale between the LDC, which we'll meet later on, and Conifer. The purpose of that is so they can make their deadline for application so as to not further delay, because I think there's at least, well, it's New York State, there's at minimum a 3-month or more waiting period on award. So if they apply by the end of March, ideally, they know by end of summer if they are a recipient of the LIHTC, the low-income housing tax credits. So, you know, we're just trying to look at the long-term timeline of this project and keep things in an expeditious manner. But so today's action just allows us to accept the application and move towards public hearing.
Okay, well, I understand the urgency because of the timeline,
Yeah.
but what I'm
It's not how we
wondering,
would, you know, not how we would want to pursue it, but yeah, but with that timeline, it just made it tight.
what I was wondering though is, weren't we aware of this like last week? I mean, couldn't this have been posted, this item be posted last week on the agenda or posted Monday? I mean, I'm just wondering why we waited to a day before. We must have known about this for several days.
We were working with Conifer on the final project costs and getting all the details of the financing lined up in order to prepare a project review and our cost benefit. We didn't expect we wouldn't receive the information, but we didn't have it listed when the agenda went out by chance that we didn't have all of the financial information we needed. So we could have theoretically posted it as part of the agenda and just pulled it if we didn't have all of the application complete. But yeah.
I mean,
I recommend, go ahead, Cheryl, go ahead.
I recognize that there's a short term here, a short timeline and a short turnaround here, but we got this very quickly in a very short time period. And for the board to look at this, like, I understand that, but that's not fair for the board members. You know, I'm not comfortable making a motion from committee or seconding it or voting on it. My suggestion is we just move this straight to the full board and let the board look at it. I don't appreciate when we get things, especially a large project like this last minute. It's not, you know, I don't think it's appropriate. So I'm going to be abstaining on this because I'm not comfortable voting on it.
Stacy, you know, just to backtrack for a second, what I would recommend is what you said. I think in the future, it's probably a better course to put something on the agenda. And if you have to pull it, no big deal. Because, you know, you can say, well, we're pulling it because we didn't have all the data we needed. And I think we'd all be more comfortable with that rather than adding something that didn't meet the public threshold of having a 24-hour notice for the public to be notified of it. So I understand the urge. I understand the need to move aggressively because of a timeline. But I think in the future, you know, err on the side of caution, post it. And then if we have to pull it, I think that's a more cleaner approach than putting a major item on the agenda at the last minute. Even though it's a good project, you know, can raise questions. Why was it just slipped on the agenda? How some people might perceive it. So.
No, understood. In hindsight, yeah, we should have posted the resolution and right. And yeah, we stayed conservative on that. So, yeah, so I do recognize that, and I do recognize that there is the board needs the ability to review. My thought is, right, if you wanted to move this to the full board for discussion, you know, I think there's still an opportunity to provide the board their time to review and get this application in time for the state's program as well. So you may, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think at this point, I think we don't have the votes to move it out anyway, so we can move it to we can just push it to the full board for their discussion and then see where it goes from there. And there's always a possibility. I don't want to speak for the other board members, but if there's anybody who feels uncomfortable, you can always have a special meeting. But any event, we'll let the full board take a look at it and make a determination. Okay, so then we'll move on to the next item. A discussion regarding the revised uniform tax exemption policy for Broome County IDA. Stacy?
Yeah, so this is, I think, the ongoing conversations we've been having and just to give you an update, so you do have a final copy. We did do a final review. I have Kevin Grems with NDC here on the call with us to do a final review. We did make a slight modification to our standard industrial improvement structure, and that was just with a more gradual 5% abatement decrease per year, which was sent out to the board. And we've added the Appendix B, which is the structure for determining standard affordable housing project pilots. So that is a formula to determine the pilot at 10% of the sheltered rent, using an average of 60% of area median income, which many of these projects fall in line with. The calculation is the monthly rent times the units to get you to gross revenue less the utilities, and that gives us our starting point. So it's a new structure. The developers we work with on the affordable side are very familiar with this structure. It's what they use. So it will be, I think, a seamless process for us to develop pilots in the future, having that as part of our UTEP. So there was not a lot of structural changes to what the board received previously as far as the language on the UTEP. We did, just for information purposes, we did do 2 informational sessions, February 25th and March 7th. We had combined about a dozen municipal, whether that's school, local government, county officials that participated. We did do a individual meeting with the city of Binghamton with Mayor Cram, and we also did a meeting with Anthony Bates at the Village of Endicott. So we had, and we also reached out to Joe Cook and Mark Manoia, assessors for the town of Union, Conklin, and Vestal, I think respectively, who also provided feedback. So, and then again, with Kevin Grems and NDC's participation, we feel like we have a solid UTEP to advance for approval this month.
Any questions? Well, Stacey, I gotta say that I think that, this is one of the more significant things I think we've done in recent years, as we've all discussed. I think it's a solid document. I think it's going to benefit us moving forward and benefit the community because things are spelled out in good detail. And I think it's a more proactive approach. So, I want to thank everybody involved, the committees, the staff, the NDC, because it was a lot of work. And I think it's a real positive addition to the IDA and moving forward. So I'm really thrilled with all that's come to fruition through this because I think it is a solid document.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I'm sorry, Cheryl, go ahead.
So out of all of these meetings, the public ones and the private ones, were there any concerns that were raised that were not either resolved or had resulting? Are there any unresolved questions or concerns that came out of any of these meetings?
Oh, Cheryl, there really weren't. We had great input from the assessing units there, actually related to some of our transfer of sale requirements. The municipal leaders we met with, I think the thing they wanted most clarification on was the process with if it's a deviation, do they need to have a formal board resolution, which we essentially said, no, it's not required because the intent of this is to make that process collaborative. And, they felt actually comfortable, which is where I thought there might be some pushback. We did not see that pushback. That was like kind of the area where they wanted most clarification But no, everybody, I think, felt it was a stronger process. And, I think we all agreed that starting within the IDA for the pilot structure is going to enhance, because we're generally going to be initially, be more conservative. And also NDC and Kevin, he tested all of these formulas that we have now in our pilots, and they do fare well for the municipality, but still provide an aggressive and, beneficial benefit to the developer. So we think we have a much stronger, I think, process moving forward.
Thank you for that.
Daisy?
Yeah.
Do we have any applications that are, I don't know if they're applicant, do you have anybody that hasn't submitted that this would apply to?
Not currently. So Water Street, we're still working with Water Street, but they were sort of, I guess, grandfathered into the previous process, if you will. They had provided their schedule in advance of this. Conifer's schedule is following this affordable structure that you have in Appendix B with to determination of the pilot at the 10% sheltered rent. Right now, I don't have any other active applications. I mean, I know some projects kicking the tires, 19 Avenue B, another Paulus development project. I know he's going to be looking for a pilot.
Okay.
I think some. So this would be the, if approved today, this will be the effective UTEP moving forward.
So we won't see, as a board, we won't see anything on, we'll only see pilots under the revised, or when we adopted the revised policy.
Yes, moving forward. Mhm.
Great.
Even the 4301 Watson.
Yes, so that's using that's using this Appendix B structure, which we worked with Kevin Grims at NDC in developing. So this Appendix B will kind of be the new standard for how affordable projects.
Okay.
So this is the first one using the new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stacy?
Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could make a suggestion, just in terms of establishing a baseline pilot for an affordable housing development, 10% to shelter rent is a fairly common approach of establishing it. It's important to establish predictability during the affordability period, and for a light tech development such as this, it's going to be at least 30 years. So I know that's a little bit unusual, the length of that pilot, but you do have built-in rent restrictions for a period of 30 years. So that helps that helps just in terms of establishing the predictability. Plus, also the 10%. It's a function of where the rents are. Affordable is not always affordable. Affordable is not the same in terms of affordability. So when you have vouchers, sometimes the rents can be higher. So the pilot's going to go up based upon the income when income streams are stronger than other affordable housing developments. So it is a good approach of establishing it. If I could just make one suggestion though, when for these tax credit developments, typically the trend for operating expenses is that they're escalating at 2 or 3%. So I would suggest that you have at least a 2% escalator on the annual pilot, not 1%, because all the other expenses are escalating at least 2%. So the pilot should escalate consistent with the other operating expenses.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay. And you will notice too, we did not assign a specific term on these because as Kevin mentioned, so much of these are determined by the financing structures, and many, if not all, with the affordable run coterminous with the mortgage or the trust fund, the LIHTC, the tax credit terms. So that's why you don't see, like you do on Appendix A, 10 or 15 or 20 years. They're really a determinant of the financing instrument.
And for the record, Conifer did use a 2% escalator. They did not use 1%.
Thank you.
So those numbers reflect that.
So staff knows to look at the finances, make those recommendations, and if we need the analysis on the finances and what makes it affordable, the IDA board's gonna get that information and staff will make sure it's part of the packet and the analysis is done.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other comments or questions at this time? So Stacy, we don't have to take any action on this at this point, do we? Because it's just, this was an update, right? Or do you want us to approve it?
I mean, I think if the governance committee feels comfortable to bring this to the board for approval, we could advance that. I don't see any structural changes. I don't see any modifications coming back to you at this point in time.
I would make a motion to move it on to the full board for discussion.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Stacy, do we need to go into executive session?
Do not, no. No,
Okay.
I don't have any items.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned. And then we have a LDC meeting.